What is up, Bull Nation, and welcome to today's video, guys. Today we're going to be talking about what the meta is in Elden Ring, and also what the soft cap is in Elden Ring, because one of the biggest things you want to avoid is overspending your points and your runes on stats that might not even be beneficial to spend them on because they're soft capped and you're not really going to be getting too much of an advantage. Now, I'm going to be explaining what soft cap is, I'm going to be explaining what each stat soft cap is, and also which recommendations I recommend, and also what I believe the meta end game number will be once we get everything sorted out with stats and all that good stuff in Elden Ring. So if all of this sounds like something you're definitely interested, a like would be greatly appreciated because it does help us out with the algorithm. So don't forget to hit that like your mama taught you right. And let's go ahead and talk about the soft cap. So before we get started, guys, let's talk about what exactly the soft cap is, because this could get a little bit nerdy because there are a ton of numbers. So for those of you who have glasses, make sure you push them a little bit further in so you guys can see exactly what we're going to be talking about. So as you guys know, one of the biggest things that the game allows us to do is to reset our stats, right? In addition to that, if you're starting out the game and you're starting a brand new character, you do not want to overspend on your stats. So I'm going to reset my stats here for this character just for video purposes. So that just cost me a larva, which, guys, I'm doing it for the team. All right, so keep that in mind. All right, so before we get started and talk about the soft cap and all that, let me explain what exactly it is. If you're new to a Dark Souls game or you're new to any game in general, there is a thing called a hard cap and a soft cap. Now, the hard cap, we all know, it's 99. That is the maximum stats you're able to get with any of these categories. And within the runes, you're able to get all the stats to 99. It shouldn't be a problem. But when you're working with builds or when you're making a brand new character, you don't really have to hit that 99 threshold to get the maximum potential of that particular stat. And that is where the soft cap comes in play, because the soft cap, basically what it is, it tells you what number you need to be at in order to get the best potential from that stat without wasting points on runes. So I know you guys have been farming runes, you probably have a lot of them, but not a lot of you guys are 312. Some of you guys are 150, some of you guys are 80. So you want to make sure that you're spending these runes on the right attribute points without having to overspend. Okay, that's basically what we're trying to achieve here. And when we talk about the meta, there is going to be a specific number when all these points add up, that once you hit like level 150, then you guys should have good amount of stats to make a really good potent build. So that should give you a better idea of what exactly a soft cap is compared to the hard cap. And now we're going to be talking about each individual attribute and what that soft cap is, so you guys can understand what you need to be spending points and what you shouldn't be spending points. Now, one of the biggest things about any Dark Souls games is survivability. And that's why Vigor is such an important part of the game. You want to make sure you take as much Vigor as you possibly can, but what exactly is the hard cap? Because, I mean, preferably everybody would want to spend 99 points in Vigor, but you also have to spend these points in the rest of the stats. So what should be like your target number when it comes to Vigor? What is the soft cap? So I have two soft caps. One I have is for PVE. If you just play PVE alone, you should be good to go. If you want to play PVE and PvP, then that's going to change. Now, as you guys know, there are a lot of really potent builds out there, especially those bleed builds. If you guys go into PvP, you will automatically just get destroyed if your Vigor is really low. So I'm going to put the soft cap for Vigor at the following number, but I'm going to kind of explain exactly what we're doing. So if I put the Vigor to 10, if you're going to notice that my HP goes up to 414. Now, if I move this up all the way to 20, it's going to go up to 652. That's roughly like 200 and something points of increment that we got. So that's a big increment, right? Now, after we go past 50, so after we get past 50 right here, if we decide to increment this another 10 points, so let's get to 50 right here, it's going to be 1,704. So that's a really good Vigor stat, and that's what I believe the soft cap is going to be for Vigor if you play PvE. But if you're playing PvP, you're definitely going to want to make sure you increment this up all the way to 60. You're not gaining the same amount of points as you are from the other ones. You roughly went up about like 200 points, to be exact 196 points. So you see that the increments by 10 are not so beneficial as they were when we were doing the lower stats. And that's why we want to make sure that the soft cap here is something that you're spending your points, but you're still getting a good chunk of of health back from those points. So the soft cap for Vigor, if you're playing PvE, going to be 50. If you're playing PvP, it's going to be 60. And now we're going to be covering the rest of the attributes and talking about what the soft cap is there, where you're not overspending runes. All right, so now that you guys understand that, and I just want to make sure you guys understand this for those of you who might not understand what all this is. If you don't understand, guys, leave a comment in the comment section. I'll try to explain it and reply to you guys because it's very important that you understand this, okay? And then we're going to be talking about what the meta is and what I believe going to be like the main meta number. And we'll get into that a little bit later in the video. So now that we got the vigor part of the way, you know for PvE what to kind of hard cap at, what to soft cap at, and for PvP what to soft cap at. Let's take a look at the rest of the stats and kind of give you guys a rough idea of where you want to be for certain stats. So we take Mind. Now Mind, guys, is going to be mostly for builds that are going to be focusing primarily on, you know, being able to cast a lot of spells, a lot of incantations and stuff like that. Not too much incantations, but mostly spells. We're going to want to know where we kind of want to be and what the sweet spot for this particular number is. So if you guys notice right here, I personally had 99 invested in my stats when I had it. And you're going to notice the difference here. And that's why I kind of wanted to show you this so you guys could get a better understanding. If you notice right here, my base stat was 450 because at 99, I get all the way to 450. That's a total of 100 points. Now, do I really need to get all the way to 99 for that 100 additional points? Is it that important? The answer to that is yes, because the soft cap for this one, I believe the right nice soft spot for this one, it's going to be at 80, okay? So 80 is going to be the right soft spot because that's going to put you at 400, and you're not going to be missing too much of the additional 49 points that you're missing in Mind. So for Mind, I would definitely put the soft cap at 80. You could probably play a little bit lower depending on how you're playing the game, and I will have builds for each individual player and each individual class to give you guys and let you guys know what the soft cap is for what and what should you be spending your points on. So if you have a specific character you want us to do first, let me know in the comment section down below. So for mine, guys, we're definitely going to be putting this at 80 for the soft cap, and we're going to lower this all the way down. Now endurance, we're going to be our next one that we're going to be talking about. Endurance is the one that is going to be a little bit different. So for example, I had 22 in endurance, and that's going to give me stamina, and it's also going to give me the ability to maximize my equipment load, so how much I can exactly carry. So it's a little bit important, especially if you want to be a more agile player, and that is going to be playing a key factor role when it comes to that. Now, the soft cap for endurance, guys, which is going to be pretty crazy, I'm going to say that this one, if we notice right here, I have it at 22, so we're going to get it 22, so you guys can see it. It's a 111, right? 11. So for this one, guys, you definitely want to increase this just a tad bit. You're not going to be getting huge increments like 40, 50 like that, but you're still going to be getting a good amount of increments on this one. And I believe, guys, for this one, which is going to be quite important for the equipment load, if you guys are not going to be carrying heavy armor, I'm going to say the soft cap for this one, guys, is going to be 50, which should put your stamina at 155 and your equipment load at 105, which makes it really important. Now, if you guys plan on using heavy armor, that's going to change a little bit because you're going to want to increment this, guys, all the way from 50 to 60. Okay, 60 would probably be the sweet number right here for heavy items. It gives you 158 stamina. In addition to that, it's going to give you 120 for you guys to have the extra equipment stuff to carry. And that should make it very obtainable, especially if you're carrying a large amount of heavy weapons and you're going to be doing a lot of stuff like that. It should be really important. Now, if you go past 60, you're going to see increments very low, guys. As you see, the numbers are only going up by 1. So you really don't want to go any higher than 60. I would leave it at 60, especially if you guys are trying to work on endurance and carry heavy items. That's where I would leave it at. All right, so now on to strength. Now, strength is a little bit harder to decipher due to the fact that it depends very much on the type of weapon you're using, and that weapon will be scaling based on the strength. Now, it's very difficult to test every single weapon in this game, guys, and tell you guys what the actual soft cap is for this one. So I'm going to give you guys roughly 2 numbers that I think are kind of like the sweet spot for this one, so you guys can get an idea of what type of weapon you should use. Now, if you are using a two-handed weapon, that's going to scale differently as well. So you guys are going to have to play with the numbers, or just leave me in the comment section down below what weapon you guys are trying to build on. And the weapon I get the most comments on, then I'll probably do a build and explain where you should be spending these attribute points in. So if you notice the attack power right here, it pretty much details the weapon I'm currently using and how much power I'm getting for that specific weapon when I scale the strength up. Now, the defensive power does come into play here because the lower the strength is, the lowest defensive power we're going to have. Now, I had 31, but the sweet spot, I believe, for this one, guys, is going to be between 55 and 60. I think that would be the ideal spot. So I'm just going to leave it at 60 to give us like a base number. But between 55 and 60 should be the pre-soft cap that I feel is going to be very potent. Ideally, you want to get, once you have enough ruins, you want to make sure you get all the way up to 80. After 80, then it stops. The scaling goes very low. So you definitely do not want to go any higher when it comes to strength. So I would say 60 would be like the minimal cap before you spend your runes somewhere else. And then eventually when you have in the runes, you want to make sure that you have strength at least in the 80 number. But 50, I mean, I would say 55, 60 would be like your first soft cap. Your second soft cap would be 80, and that's where I would leave that on. Now moving on to dexterity. Now dexterity is extremely important because not only is it important for melee characters, but it's also important for people who actually use casting, because it's going to allow you to cast a lot faster. Now it doesn't make this huge advantage, but it still helps out quite a little bit. Now with that being said, this is also going to be very determined on the weapon you're using. So once again, very similar like strength, we're going to put a soft cap on this one as well. We're going to go to 55 on this one. And as you guys see, not too much of a big chunk of difference, but that's going to be the pre-soft cap, and then the other soft cap is going to be very similar to strength. We're going to actually put that at 80, which should give us a really good number to have for the weapons, especially if it's going to be varied if you kind of are just going to be like doing sorcery and magic, or you're going to be playing more of a agile role. So I'm going to leave it at that. 60 would probably be your base number if you're just doing regular magic and not using dexterity that much. And 80 would be like the one you really want to go with if you're using that quite a lot. Now, for all you mage and magic casters out there, you're probably wondering, Laser, what is going on with intellect? Do I have to actually raise it all the way to 99 to get the most out of it? So you guys see right here, pretty much my intelligence, which is going to allow me to do a lot of damage when it comes to magic. You're just going to see that I have it all the way to 99, and 99 gets me all the way up, right? So 99 would be like the ideal stat everybody wants to have, but you do not want to overspend on this one. You want to make sure that you don't get to that 99, because you're only going to be going up very limited amount of points. You're not going to be going up quite a lot. So for intelligence, guys, I would say the sweet spot for intelligence is definitely going to be roughly around the 80 mark. I think that is as high as you want to go. At 80, you're going to be putting your attack bonus at 196. And if you were to go to 99, all the way to 99, it would put your attack power to 206. So we kind of do the math on that one, and we do 206 minus 199. You're going to notice that there is only an increment of 7 points. So what is the point of you spending that much of, of runes to only get 7 additional points? Theoretically, the way it ends up being is, so theoretically, you want to make sure you're at that 80 stat. Now, in addition to that, you're probably wondering, how about the sorcery scaling? So the sorcery scaling at 80 is going to be 329. Now, if you go all the way to 99, it's going to put you at 355, which should only give you 26 additional points. So you want to make sure you keep intelligence at 80, and those additional points are not going to be so beneficial to you on your casting, so you don't have to spend an extra 19 points just to gain such a little bit of advantage. Now let's go ahead and reset this and go ahead and start off with Faith, because Faith is going to be primarily used for those of you guys who love incantations and casting all that stuff. That is going to be playing a huge role. Alright, so since Faith also works with certain weapons and certain Ashes of War that you have applied to them, I'm going to give you guys 2 basic soft cap stats. One with swords that you're going to be doing Ashes of War with, and then I'm going to give you one that's going to be primarily for incantations. So what you want to do, guys, for Faith, the nice soft number right here, you're going to want to make sure you get this all the way up here, all the way up to 60. That's going to be your kind of like base stat, especially if you're going to be using a lot of weapons with Ash of War and do a lot of damage. 60 is going to be the really good one to get. Now, if you plan on doing a lot of incantations, I'm going to say 80 is the sweet spot for this one, guys, because that is going to be the very good spot, not only for attack power, but also for incantations. So basically for attack power, you're going to scale up to 187 when it comes to attack power. And for doing incantations, you're going to scale up to 324. Now, if you think about how high you actually get when you get to 99, for attack power, you're only getting 10 points off of that. And for incantations, you're theoretically only getting a total of 24 points additional for that. So 60 would be the hot spot for the nice soft spot, especially if you're going to be using only weapons. And if you're using incantations, 80 is going to be the soft spot for that. Now let's go ahead and talk about Arcane. Now for Arcane, it's going to be a little bit very similar to Intellect and Faith, just to the fact that there are 2 sets of scaling. You could either scale it based on incantations, or you could scale it off something like the blood infusion or occult infusion, poison infusion, stuff like that. It kind of bases off physical damage. Now, For this one, we're going to have 2 caps as well. If you're going to be using mostly swords or stuff like that, or not incantations, but you're going to be adding like poison infusions and stuff like that, the soft cap for this one's going to be 60. That should put you in a very nice sweet spot. Now, you notice that the discoverability does get incremented as well, so that means you're going to be able to find more stuff when you loot bodies. It's important, but the most important here, guys, of course, is what you're getting based off the attacks. So Arcane's going to be really important for that because it's going to increase your physical damage attacks. Now, 60 would be the nice sweet spot for this one, but that's only if you're going to be doing like poison or blood infusion or occult infusion. Now, if you guys are going to be using a lot of arcane or like a hybrid build, so 80 would be the nice soft spot for that because it's going to allow you not only to scale up when it comes to certain weapons that use arcane to actually level up or to cause physical damage, but it's also going to help you when it comes to applying bleed effects. So for those bleed builds, 80 would be a really good spot for that. So that's pretty much rounding off all the attribute points and giving you guys what the soft cap is for each. Now, when it comes to the meta, guys, that's determining basically how many levels you have to be to actually be a full-on meta, or what the meta will be. I think in previous Dark Souls games, the meta was like 120, 125. For this one in particular, I think it's going to scale up quite exponentially based on some of these stats going to 80 and some of them taking about 60. So I'm going to think the level cap is going to be between, for the meta build, it's going to be like 160 to 165. I think that's where everybody, once we get a lot of people testing stuff up or testing a lot of weapons, I think that's where the meta level was going to be, 160. Let me know in the comment section down below if you guys agree or disagree. And also, guys, if you want to see builds with attribute points and giving you guys the soft cap for each individual build, let me know what character you guys want to see us do first in the comment section down below. I do hope you guys are enjoying our videos here and our coverage on the channel. If you are doing the huge favor, guys, hit that like. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on all those notifications so you guys won't miss when our videos go live. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.